Now, I didn't understand this until recently. How is $100,000 a year not enough to support you or your family? Well, we're about to find out in today's video. Let's just go ahead and take a look.
You cannot raise a family comfortably on $100,000 a year.
Ooh,
Not even $200,000 a year.
damn.
Bills, groceries, daycare, cars, house, mortgage, diapers, food, outings. Like, you really can't do it. I can barely raise myself on a six-figure income. How could you do a whole family? Please tell me in the comments. It don't make no sense to me. $100,000 a year. What?
I'm gonna be honest with you. What a lot of people don't realize about making $100,000, the most silent thing that takes chunks and chunks away is taxes. Brother, you're going to realistically, you're only really netting $5,000 to $6,000 a month. All right, they're going to take their 25 to 28%, depending on where you're at, bro. It's a lot. You pay more when you make $100,000 a year. You do, and you don't qualify for any benefits. But let's just keep watching.
I feel like we've reached a crisis when $100,000 is not even enough to live.
Right.
Like, it's not enough.
I make well.
You know, and just to think about the housing market, man, let's just be honest, man. If you're trying to get a house, rent is high. If you're trying to rent 1,200 to 2,500, if you're thinking about mortgages and stuff, because now you feel like you can afford a better house, you know, a nicer house, you're making good money, you're going to be paying a lot more.
Over $120,000 a year that I am in the position that I'm in, where after I've paid all of my basic necessity bills, I have nothing left over. And when I say I don't have anything of extraordinary value, I live in a normal size home, okay? Nothing fancy. I drive a Kia. I don't have anything that's luxury. I don't have anything that's excessive that I'm spending on. I'm literally just spending normal amounts of money.
Some of these people are very disconnected. Y'all got to stop listening to these people tell y'all that they are broken, that, oh my God, I have a normal size house. Nope. They got a bunch of student loans. They got a high house payment. They got all of this stuff. They may have made some bad decisions, rolling some payments over, refinancing cars, trips, all of this stuff. You don't make $120,000 a year with no dependents and nobody else responsible for, and be jammed up like this. They're not telling you the full story. They're not telling you the full truth. You don't make $120,000 a year by yourself and try to tell me that you basically need to be letting stuff go because you can't afford the lifestyle, and it's because of the economy. It's because of inflation. I call 1,000% BS.
What's going on?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you have no dependents, I understand if you make $100,000 and you have kids, because look, grocery prices is up 20 to 30%, right? You got subscriptions. You want to do life stuff, and to be honest, the reality to what you make, especially if you just your income, you're gonna want to do stuff with your kids. All right, you're gonna want to do stuff, so you're gonna have to spend some of that money every single week, every single month. But for people like like her, if she doesn't have any dependents and she's saying that her house is normal, she has a normal car note, and not even get about car notes. Most of between your taxes, house mortgage, and your car note, because you just have to get to work and do all that stuff, pay taxes and pay your house note, you're gonna feel like you're spending a lot of money, and it's gonna come draining. Like, right? So I get it. I totally get it. I have a high-end truck note. That's just because I work extra hard. I got several things that I work on, and I just want to ride around nice, so I take the lick on that. All right? But for her to say she has no dependents, and for her to say, like, hey, like, yeah, she's very disconnected, because, like, maybe you didn't realize that the more money you're making, the more money that you're taking, you're probably disconnected to reality. You do spend a lot of money in stuff that you don't need, or maybe you just didn't need in the first place. But it feels good, and then you start to tell yourself you got one life to live.
What's going on? We're living on $100,000 a year, Houston, Texas area. What's going on?
We have a lot of debt, a lot of credit cards, student loan. Mine, I have
That's
3
a
degrees.
chunky student loan.
Yes,
I've seen that.
I have 3 degrees. I have a master's, a bachelor's, and associates.
In what?
And the associates is in computer and electrical engineering. The bachelor's is in business technology and accounting, and the master's is in business management and accounting.
Okay. And is this what you wanted to do?
Yeah, and that's the part that I enjoy doing in my job more than the apartment manager part, the accounting part for the rest of the properties. That's why they gave me that chunk.
And today's
Wow. I mean, you just getting eaten alive by student loans yourself. Wow. Wow. You just gotta understand that's a lot. That's a big boat. Like, what do you do there? You can't really do anything, right? And then we just come off of time where we weren't paying student loans for almost several years, and you think like, oh, like out of touch with your responsibility. We're so the dream, just like millions of other people thinking we were going to have to pay student loans anymore. It was going to be all forgiven, but that turned around to bite everybody in the butt, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of student loan. And then the husband marries into that and assumes that debt. That's also a lot for him.
economy. Do you think a couple that brings home $100,000 is enough to support a small family of like 3 to 4 people? I asked this because I made a post yesterday about how Americans are really struggling, and it was really sad and eye-opening to me to see the amount of people who said, I make 6 figures now, yet we're still struggling. And I don't mean is it enough to buy like luxuries. I just mean is $100,000 enough to live comfortably without having to live paycheck to paycheck. I remember like 12 years ago, my mom told me about this couple I knew who were making like a combined salary of $110,000. And at that point in my life, 20s, I'm thinking, what a dream, what a goal it was for me to be able to say one day that my husband and I were making like $110,000. And now here I am in 2023, and I'm like, it's not the dream life anymore. Like if someone would have told me my husband and I would be making what we're making and still having to cut back on necessities, I would have been like, you have to be kidding me. Like we didn't even go on a vacation this year because the last thing I'm going to do is put a vacation on a credit card, but we didn't have extra money to bring our kids on a vacation. And we both have good jobs. So if you think $100,000 is enough, I'm curious, what's your location? Do you not have children? Like why do you think it's enough? Because I'm telling you from yesterday's post on here, the comments say different, and the comments say that a majority of Americans are really, really struggling, and I mean hardworking Americans. So
middle class Americans are really taking a huge hit on this because of taxes and everything. They really got to figure out something to give middle class Americans a break. You're talking to the same middle class that work 50 to 60 hours, probably on average, all throughout there. They don't work at home, all right? They got daycare fees, they got all this stuff. And then they finally say, oh, again, here's being out of touch with reality. Let me go ahead and go on a vacation, bring the kids, and then you put this on the credit card. The credit card bills start jacking up, all kind of stuff. And then you've got to find yourself into like rolling up, a personal loan and rolling up all your credit card debt into one small payment with, a smaller interest rate, which works. I've done that before in the past, and it does work. It's phenomenal, actually, especially if you guys have a lot of credit card debt. Try to roll it up into a low interest personal loan payment where you can just knock that out in one, hey, maybe over 3 years, 4 years, I can knock out all my credit card debt and just start all over again. Definitely look into that. I highly suggest that. But yeah, that's where it is. People with kids, daycare fees, they don't talk about that. You got to remember, daycare fees are not what they used to be as well. They're extremely high.
$100,000 today is equivalent to $40,000 in 1990. Well, duh, big head. We've been trying to tell you that. They're saying that $40,000 in 1990 could have gotten you the exact same things that you can buy with $100,000 today, which lets you know that inflation is out of control. This is ridiculous. And I love how people will hear that and they'll say, well, you're probably living outside of your means if you're making $100,000 and you're struggling. No. See, the thing is, people go to college, right, with the incentive of graduating and getting a good job. And the only thing they graduate with is debt. And then there are no jobs. And then the people that do have jobs are currently being laid off because AI is taking over their jobs. So what are we supposed to do? Become the computers? You can't even program the computers no more because AI becoming so smart that it's going to program the computers itself. It's programming itself. You got the programmers programming the programming. This is crazy. And then you have to sit out here and figure out what you're going to do. It costs too much to live. You got rent, you got mortgage, you got insurance, you got, first of all, homeowners insurance. Then you got life insurance. Then you got health insurance, and you got to pay that if you want to live because then you got kids you got to take care of. Then the food expenses are astronomical. Remember back in the day, you would buy food at the grocery store so that you didn't have to go out and eat at the restaurant because restaurants cost too much. Nowadays, the restaurant might be cheaper than what you're going to cook at home. You might as well go ahead and go get your own shrimp fried rice, because when you go and try to piece all the ingredients together, you're going to come out of $45. I can just go over here to the Chinese restaurant, get me some shrimp fried rice, and it's going to cost me $14. At some point, something has to be done. It has to be done. Instead of y'all sitting around arguing about politics all day long, how about we figure out who's going to lower some of these prices? How about we figure out who's going to help everybody else make some more money? If you're going to keep increasing everything, then I tell you what, help people make more money. Increase minimum wage. But then if you increase minimum wage, now you want to raise the taxes. It's all stupid. $100,000 equivalent to $40,000 in the 90s. Well, take me back to 1990, because in the 90s, my parents bought a house, raised me, 4 siblings, cars, and was living good off $48,000. Meanwhile, $100,000 today, you barely able to get approved for an apartment.
It's just insane when you talk about food prices, dude. You can go and get like not even a half a basket of food and you're paying $300. Easy. Cases of water that used to be $3-4, bro, that's $8-9 now. Cases of water.
No, this is such an interesting take, and I feel the same way too. A lot of times when I think about how much money I make, it should feel a lot more than what it feels like. But a lot of times when people make a lot of money, they also spend a lot of money too. So you might have someone who even makes $250,000, but they have a house payment, that a big luxurious house. They drive a BMW or Mercedes-Benz or Porsche or a Tesla, which costs a lot of money. Do a lot of things to keep up with the amount of money that they make, because that is supposed to, or what we've been told a lot of times, is that it's supposed to look a certain way. So there's no way that I make 6 figures, but I drive, well now, because I'm changing my mindset,
Right.
I drive a $3,000 car that I got off of Facebook Marketplace, which is with the salvage title. You know, those two don't necessarily go together, but they can. If you want them to,
Right.
You just have to make lifestyle changes. And that's what I'm in the process of doing. That's what my TikTok and my Instagram, that's what I share about these days, because I do want to be financially literate. I do want to be financially free. And I do want to pass good habits down to my children.
This is where it is. You got to be financially literate. Like, you know, you come across your first year making $100,000, then you kind of go into that second year thinking like, damn, I made a lot of money. I got a little bit more saved up. I can probably afford this. You go into your second year, you increase your expenses. You start spending more money thinking that you got it. And then you come out of your second year like, what the hell just happened? I don't have it like I used to have it. Or I don't have it like I thought I had it. And these decisions for buying a nice house or a car, no. It's not worth it. It's still tight, and you're gonna make these lifestyle changes to relieve some of that pressure, guys. Just make sure that you do your research before making any major decision. But yeah, what do you guys think? Is $100,000? Is that not even enough? I can only imagine what $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 feel like. You know, inflation does suck, but hey. I need you guys. But if you like today's video, you thought it was helpful, please don't forget to hit that like button, that hype button, that subscribe button, hit the comment button, hit the buttons. All right. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next video.